everyone. A very good morning. I do hope that you're doing good, all of you. And good morning, Kritika. Good morning, Nikita. Good morning, Deepika. And good morning, Amir. Okay, before we proceed, and I know in the meantime others are joining in, quickly tell me, did you all had a chance to go through what we covered yesterday? Any one of you covered or revised portions that we covered yesterday? Are you having books? Okay, then get the book quickly, Kritika. Good, Deepika. So, Deepika, any questions, any queries? Are you able to understand what we covered? Okay, that's great for Amir. Any questions with you? You have queries, Deepika? Please discuss. Okay, I'm sure they are going to speed up. Okay, that's great, Nikita. Okay, wonderful. So what I will do is, it's okay, Kritika, don't worry. In the meantime, I'll just revise the second chapter, whatever we were we started with in the last class, that is yesterday. I'll recap all that and then we continue further. So that is going to be recap for you also and for everyone. Okay? So I'll just share the screen. So I'm just quickly revising what we have covered in the second chapter so far. Computing taxable income and the income tax liability is the heading of this chapter. I'll take you to quickly to the performer that we were discussing. So here I've taken the example of Richard's calculation of income tax for the tax year 22-23. So I can change it to tax year 23-24. That will be more better. Okay. Now, the income that I've taken is the income of an individual would be divided broadly into three categories: non-savings income, savings income, and dividend income. As we had discussed, all the interest-related income would go into that savings income category. Dividend income by its name would go into the dividend income category, and rest of the income will come here. There is an exception for an income that doesn't come in this slab rate calculation, which is chargeable gains. So the capital gains or chargeable gains won't come in this performer because it is going to be taxed separately at a separate rate for individuals. When I talk about companies, it will be a part of their performer only. Of course, the performer will be different for companies. So that's still a long way to go to companies level. Okay, now, so here I've taken the example of employment income, building society interest, and dividend income, precisely one income each for non-savings, savings, and dividend. Okay, I'm sure you guys are carrying the calculator with you today for the class. You all are with your calculators because I really don't recommend anybody to use mobile phone calculators at all. Okay, because today onward, now you'll be doing also a lot of questions in the class. In case if you don't have it, then while you're listening to the session, please get your calculators, notebook, pen or pencils with you. I don't want you to use Excel. I just want you to use your pen, paper, pencils and calculators. Okay, so make sure you have them with you every day in the class. When there's a need to do questions on the Excel, I will tell you. But before that, or leaving those questions, you're always going to do questions on your notepad or your notebooks, pencils, and calculators. These three things are compulsory to carry for every class. Okay. Good morning, Ashna. Any doubts so far in the topics that we had covered yesterday? Then please put up in the chat box. I'm revising what we covered in chapter 2, and then we'll move ahead from chapter 2 onwards. Okay, the remaining topics we will cover. Yeah, put up in the chat box if you have any queries. Now, so I've taken these incomes one by one, and then we got the total income. Please, this understanding of this terminology is also important. When you add the incomes, you get total income. When you reduce qualifying interest relief and the losses relief, then you get your net income. Okay? Because many times question will ask you to calculate total income, net income, taxable income. So you should be able to define and determine the difference between these three. Now, from the net income, when you reduce your personal allowance of 12,570 maximum, then you get your taxable income. Yeah, Kritika, I never explained only qualifying interest relief. Qualifying interest relief, I'll explain today, okay, in detail. I just took the terminology. Because what is qualifying interest relief, I will be covering in today's session. Yeah, on the taxable income now, there are two things that you have to do. First step, when you get your individual taxable income, you have to add it together and get the total of taxable income. Because when you get the total of taxable income, that will determine whether it is a higher rate taxpayer, additional rate taxpayer, or the basic rate taxpayer. That basically means what is the maximum rate applicable to that taxpayer. Okay. So now when you are at the taxable income, the next thing that you have to do is calculation of your taxes. For that, you will first go to the slab rates. Slab rates are up to 37,700 of the taxable income. The tax rate is 20%. It's a slab rate wise calculation that we do. So up to 37,700 of taxable income, the tax rate is 20%. If this is the maximum rate applicable to the taxpayer, then we say is a basic rate taxpayer. And this 37,700, this limit is called as basic rate band. Now going further, the next rate band is from 37,701 till 150,000. This is known as a higher rate band. And if this is the maximum rate applicable to the taxpayer, we call him a higher rate taxpayer. And the maximum rate would be 40% then. However, if the taxable income goes beyond 150,000, this is known as additional rate band, and the maximum tax rate applicable would be 45%. So then the taxpayer code would be called as additional rate taxpayer. If you observe in this question only, as we were covering yesterday, his taxable income is between 37,700 and 150,000. So therefore, the maximum tax rate applicable to him would be 40%. So we call him as higher rate taxpayer. Okay, but there is an exception in these tax rates. When we come to dividend income today, you'll understand that dividend income is taxed at different rates. It carries different tax rates that I will cover. Let's go step by step. First, I come to non-savings income. There is no nil rate band for non-savings income. It is straight away put to tax. No, personal allowance is always given in your tax rates and allowances chart at 12,570. It's a fixed, it's an amount given to you already there. We will be using it in calculation of our income. Okay. But you know, Mohammed, as we do more and more questions, this is going to retain in your head. You would always know that personal allowance is 12,570. So even you don't need to go to the help box and see the tax rates and allowances chart that whether what is the personal allowance, right? Okay. Now let's go to the first one. So when I do the calculation of NSI, 39,430 is your income, a taxable income here. You know that up to 37,700, it will be taxed at 20%. Then 39,430 less 37,700 will be taxed at 40% because then now you're in the higher rate band. Now we go to the savings income. Remember I told you yesterday that there are two nil rate bands applicable to the savings income. One is the 5,000 starting nil rate band and the other is the nil rate band based on the category of the taxpayer. Again, these two information will also be given to you in your tax rates and allowances chart. I'll give you a glimpse how that looks like, tax rates and allowances chart. Okay. Now, So 5,000 starting nil rate band will only be applicable. You know that if NSI is up to 5,000 only or less than 5,000. Here if you see NSI, a non-savings income is more than 5,000. So starting nil rate band of 5,000 is not applicable here. Correct? So that starting nil rate band is not applicable on savings income directly. You always see first your non-savings income. If this is less than 5,000, then the difference amount will reduce the savings income. That's all. Okay. But here, when you see, you find that 39,430 is more than 5,000. So that starting nil rate band of 5,000 is not applicable to savings income. Second, please see the category of the taxpayer. Why? For a basic rate category taxpayer, meaning to say to whom maximum 20% is applicable, there is a 1,000 nil rate band for savings income. For higher rate taxpayer, the nil rate band is 500. And for additional rate taxpayer, it's 0 because you're very rich, so you don't need the nil rate bands. Okay, now when you find that he is a higher rate taxpayer, I'll give him 500 nil rate band. Do you see how do I present? So 500 multiplied by 0%. You have to present this in the answer. You cannot eliminate this step. So you would do 500 multiplied by 0%. Now, what is the total savings income? 1400. Out of which 500 I've already considered for 0. So remaining is how much? 900. That will be taxed at 40%. Why 40? Because we are already in the 40% category. So the same 40% will continue till 150,000. Because beyond that, 45% will start. Till this point, any questions and queries? Put up in the chat box. Then I'll move to dividend income. All clear? Okay. Now let's take dividend income. Now, does dividend income also has a nil rate band? Yes. And the best part is dividend income's nil rate band is available for all the category of the taxpayers. Okay, so it's like whether you are basic rate category taxpayer, higher rate category taxpayer, additional rate category taxpayer. The nil rate band of 1,000 is applicable to all the taxpayers. Earlier it was 2,000 in the last tax year, and this tax year onwards it is 1,000. So the dividend income is here in our question is 6,000. Out of 6,000, 1,000 will be covered for 0%. And the remaining 5,000 now will be subject to tax. Dividend tax rates are different than 20, 40, 45. Only for dividend income, we don't apply these tax rates. You don't need to learn them. It will be given to you in the exam. Now, for that tax rates to apply, we need to see currently in the dividend income, he is in which rate band. We know that this taxpayer is in the higher rate band. So you will go to the dividend income rates. Now, dividend income tax rates are, if that dividend income, we are calculating the tax on dividend income for basic rate category, for basic rate band, then the tax rate is 8.75%. For higher rate band, it is 33.75, and for additional rate band, it is 39.35%. Right now, the taxpayer, Richard, is in the higher rate band category. So what is the tax rate to be applied here? 33.75%. So on the remaining 6 out of 6,000, 1,000 is covered for nil rate band. The remaining 5,000 will be subject to 33.75%. So we will do 5,000 multiplied by 33.75%. And now we got our dividend income tax as well. I repeat again, dividend income is subject to a separate tax rates apart from this 20, 40, 45. Okay, so first dividend income, whether it is any taxpayer, straight away 1,000 is a nil rate band to be given. On the remaining dividend income, we would apply 33.75% here. The reason being, currently it is higher rate band that the taxpayer is in. So we will apply the higher rate band rate of 33.75%. When you add all this, we get our tax liability. Till this point, are we clear? Don't worry, we're going to be doing a lot of questions on this calculations. Okay? Some questions I'll be doing, some questions you will be doing. Now, when you get a total tax liability, I've just taken one reducer here. Reducer means those items that reduce your tax liability. So one of the very commonly used reducer is pay. Pay tax means TDS. So I've just taken an example that in your syllabus, you will have TDS only on salary. Okay. And that too also the calculation is not there in your syllabus, just the theory portion is there. And if there is a pay on salary, question will give you that data. It is just that you should know that pay on salary or the TDS, the tax which has already got deducted by the employer from the salary, okay, will be reducing your income tax liability. Makes sense? Because we are calculating income tax on entire employment income. And on the other hand, employment income is already covered for TDS or the pay. So when we've already paid pay on the employment income, why do we need to pay again tax on the same income? So therefore, when you calculate the total tax liability, we reduce any pay deducted on employees' income so far. We reduce it and the balance tax becomes payable under self-assessment, and this tax will be payable on 31st January 2025. Your tax year is 23-24. Your tax year will end on 5th April 24. Next 31st January will come on 31st January 25. So that is the due date of filing on paying your taxes and filing your return. I hope I'm clear. Okay, now let's take one small example. And I want you to calculate the tax liability. Can you all try it? Let's do some random 2-3 questions before going to the test. I just want you to calculate simple tax liability. Can you all do this? Yes? Everybody is ready with your pen, papers, and calculators? Anybody who's not having it? Uh, this we have written is the tax payment date. You know, Kritika, when the tax year ends, we don't pay the taxes that time only. We need time to prepare the tax returns. So the government gives us time. The tax year ends on 5th April. The time to pay the tax liability for that tax year is till 31st January. For example, in our country, India also, the tax year will end on 31st March. But we can pay the taxes by 31st July for individuals and 30th September for corporations. Okay? And in UK, for individuals, the deadline is 31st January. By 31st January, they need to pay taxes and they need to file their returns. Got it? Okay, so I do hope that Ashna, Deepika, Kritika, Omer, and Nikita, all of you are absolutely ready to solve the question. Okay, so all of you please start. This is the first question. Just simple income tax liability, I need you to calculate and type it in the chat box. I have already established that the maximum tax rate applicable to him is higher rate band, that is 40%. Only two kinds of income I've mentioned here. NSI 36,000, SI 10,000. You will check for starting nil rate band and you will also check for savings nil rate band based on the category of the taxpayer. Okay, so quickly calculate the tax liability and check, put it in the chat box. Guys, quickly type it in the chat box. You tell me the slab rates. Now you should be knowing them. For till 37,700, the taxable income till 37,700 is taxed at 20%. From 37,700 till 150,000, it is taxed at 40%. Okay. And then 1,50,000 onwards, it is taxed at 45%. Ashna, clear? And nil rate bands, please just think. Starting nil rate band of 5,000 is available for savings income. And then additional savings nil rate band is there. If it's a basic rate category taxpayer, 1,000 is the savings nil rate band. For a higher rate category taxpayer, 500 is the savings nil rate band. For additional rate category taxpayer, 0 is the savings nil rate band. Come on, guys. I will give you just a minute more, not more than that. Come on. Be quick. Speed up. Give me the answer. Deepika has given me the answer. Ashna, Kritika, Omer, and Nikita, all of you speed up and give me the answer. Doesn't matter you're wrong or right, just type it. Your calculations. So when I will show you the answer, you would be able to understand where you went wrong. Okay, Kritika, answer received. Come on, people, speed up. Mohammed, waiting for your answer. Okay, Nikita, answer received. Muhammad, answer received. Ashna, quick. What is your answer? So Deepika is given 10660. Kritika 11680. Nikita 10760. Mohammed 14235. What about you, Ashna? Ashna? Okay, take your time. I'm just cross-checking everybody's answer now. So let's see first what is the correct answer. The correct answer is 10760. Okay, let's see who gave the correct answer. Nikita. And let's see where others went wrong. All of you. NSI is 36,000. You know that till 37,700, it is taxed at 20%. Since NSI is less than 37,700, we will take 36,000 multiplied by 20%. For the savings income, this, since he's a higher rate taxpayer, he'll get 500 starting he will get 500 savings nil rate band. So it will be taxed at 0%. If you observe NSI is more than 5,000, so 5,000 starting nil rate band is not available. Now, you will not straight away apply on the remaining income 40%. The reason being, we still have 1,700 of the basic rate band available. 37,700 is the basic rate band. 36,000 we have covered for 20%. So the remaining 1,700, the remaining 1,700 is still available. But if you observe here, out of 1,700, 500 we have already covered for 0%. So the basic rate band will be reduced by these nil rate bands also. What I mean to say, just look here. 37,700 is my basic rate band. From this, I will reduce 36,000. So I get 1,700 still basic rate band remaining. But 500 I have already covered for 0%. So how much is the remaining rate band? It is not 1,700. It is 1,700 less 500. HMRC says even 0% rate band, nil rate bands will also reduce this rate band, even if taxed at 0%. So now when I reduce it, I get remaining 1200. Now 1200 will only enjoy 20%. Once 1200 is enjoyed 20%, you can add this. It has become 37,700. That means basic rate band is over and the remaining 8,300 now will be taxed at 40%. Clear? Ahmed, are you clear where you went wrong? Nikita, you were correct. Yeah. Ashna, are you clear now? Deepika, are you clear now? Ashna, are you able to understand? That's okay. You will remember. That is why I'm doing so many. We will be doing a lot of questions practice today, so that you will remember it today only in the class. Okay, let's do another question. All of you ready? So I am taking the next question where you will have ARTP also. Additional rate band. Okay, he's an additional rate taxpayer. So when the taxable income goes beyond 150,000, 45% tax rate would be applied. I'm not taking dividend income right now. We're just working with NSI and SI. Okay, please try to solve this question now. NSI is 50,000, SI is 110,000. He's an additional rate taxpayer because the total of taxable income is 160,000, which is more than 150,000. Type your answers in the chat box. And now, just a moment. So guys, please remember you have to apply these tax rates accordingly, slab by slab. Till 37,700, 20%. Then from 37,701 to 150,000, 40%. Beyond 1,50,000, 45%. I'll just give you 2 minutes now. Type it in the chat box, your answers. Wrong or right, doesn't matter. But try to get it right this time. Kritika, done. Good. Everyone else, you just have a minute more. I told you you have to work in the timers now. Work with the timers. So speed up, a minute more. Type it in the chat box, your answers. Okay, Nikita. Come on, everyone. 30 seconds more. Speed up. Ashna, Omer, Deepika, type your answers in the chat box. Ashna, this time I want your answer. I'll give you 30 seconds more. Type it in the chat box. Omer, just check your answer. There is some mistake. If you have given a savings nil rate band, don't give. Because for basic rate category taxpayers, 1,000 is the savings nil rate band. For higher rate category taxpayers, it reduces to 500. And for additional rate category taxpayers, it is 0%. Okay, 0 is the savings nil rate band. They will not get any nil rate band. for savings? Ashna, I want your answer. Okay, that's okay. I think there is some mistake, but then correct it. It's okay. Ashna, are you sharing answer? Okay, that's okay. Keep trying. We're just discussing. Okay. So I believe it looks a little bit wrong, but then I think it's correct, more or less matching. The correct answer is 56,960. Correctly given by Deepika, Nikita, and Kritika. I think Ashna, you were just marginally wrong. Just see where were you wrong. Okay. And Mohammed, let's see where were you wrong. Let's go step by step. NSI is 50,000. We know that up to 37,700, it is 20% tax rate applicable. So then beyond 37,700 till 50,000, what is the remaining income? It is 12,300. That will be taxed at 40% because now we have crossed the basic rate band. Till 150,000, higher rate band will continue. So savings income is 110,000. We know starting nil rate band is not available since NSI is more than 5,000. We know that based on the category of the taxpayer, savings nil rate band is also not available. So fully savings income will be subject to the taxes. Now, 12,300, just a moment. Okay. So now we know that up to 150,000 of the total taxable income, you will see the higher rate band to continue. Correct? So just add it. 37 and 700 and 12,300. We have taken 50,000 so far in NSI. How much is remaining? 1 lakh for the 40% rate band. So 1 lakh will be covered for 40% higher rate band. Now, when you add all this, Mohammed, we find it is 150,000 is already over. Now we know beyond 150,000, whatever income is remaining would be covered for 45%. Total savings income is 110,000. We have covered 1 lakh here. So how much is remaining? 10,000. 10,000 will be covered for 45%. Now you calculate the taxes and add them and we get 56,960 as the total taxes on this taxable income. Are you clear? Where was the mistake? So Mohammed, where was the mistake? Ashna, where was your minor error? Where you did wrong? Quickly type it in the chat box. Okay, that's a very minor mistake. Okay, no issues. I think you gave the starting, you gave 500 nil read band, right, Ashna? Okay, but I hope now you're clear that additional rate category taxpayers will not enjoy any savings nil read band. Okay. Should we do some more questions before I go to dividend income? Let's take one more question and then we take dividend income. Okay? That will give you more practice. Okay, let's do this question. Illustration 3, give me the answer in the chat box. Look at the question. We'll do one or two questions right now, and then I take up a dividend income question also. Okay, everyone, you all know that there's a timer running. So speed up. How can it be zero? There will be always taxes available. No, you're wrong. How it will be zero? Trading income is there. Okay. You have given the PA. Guys, all of you will give personal allowance reduction. You will get taxable income and then you will calculate taxes. So I have not seen the answer, Mohammed. So, but then also your answer is not correct, Mohammed. It will not be zero. Recheck it. Okay? Please do recheck, Mohammed. Speed up. Give me the answer. Deepika, Ashna, Mohammed, answers. No issues. Okay, let's discuss the answer. So now, first step, we will reduce from trading income. You'll have NSI, SI. Now from this, you will reduce your PA of 12,570. We reduce it. You'll get income taxable income 2,600. Here you will get 8,000. Total will be 10,600. Mohammed, did you get this answer? Ashna, did you get this answer? Okay. Mohammed, did you get this answer here? Okay. Are you clear what you did with the mistake? Okay. So now you will get 10,600. Now 2,600, you will apply straight away 20% taxes on it because non-savings income will be subject to 20% rate band. There is no nil rate band available for non-savings income. Remember that. Right? So 20 non-savings income will be subject to 20%. The tax would be 520. Now for the savings income, you know that non-savings income taxable portion is less than 5,000. So when I reduce from 5,000 this figure, I get 2,400. That 2,400 will be nil rate band for starting nil rate band for savings income. Right? 5,000 less 2,600 will be covered for starting nil rate band of 5,000. So 2,400 will be at 0%. Now, since he is a basic rate category taxpayer, since the total taxable income is not beyond 37,700, he will get additionally 1,000 also as the starting nil rate band, as the nil rate band. So he will get 2,400 as the starting nil rate band, 1,000 as the savings nil rate band. Total 3,400 got reduced. Now out of 8,000, when you reduce 3,400, the remaining 4,600 will be covered for 20%. Right? So now this will be covered for 20% tax. Add both and you get 1,440 as your tax liability. Are you clear now, Ashna, Mohammed? What went wrong? Nikita? No. Yeah. Nikita, are you also clear now? Okay, Nikita, you gave the answer, man. Sorry. Yes? Ashna, what you did the mistake? What you did mistake? Because you got this answer correct. So where you went wrong? You did not give that starting nil rate band of 2400, is it? Okay, got it. No issues. Let's have just one more question and then we take the dividend income. Please do this illustration 4. Amount for personal loans is 12,570. 12570. For the basic rate category taxpayer, the savings nil rate band is 1000. For the higher rate category taxpayer, it is 500. And for the additional rate category taxpayer, it is 0. Come on, everyone. Do it quickly. Type it in the chat box. Quick, guys, quick. Speed up. Let's discuss the answers. Take your time, Ashna. Type your answer in the chat box once you're done. Okay, so we have 8240 or 7940, these two answers. Let's see. Now, let's go step by step. Employment income is 46,720. Bank interest is 5550. You'll reduce the PA of 12,570. So we get taxable income 34,150. For non-savings income, savings income 5550, and total is 39,700. Anyone who could not get this, please type it in the chat box. The total taxable income of 39,700. Okay, now you know till 37,700 it will be taxed at 20%. Now 34,150 is less than 37,700, so total 34,150 will be covered for 20%. When you go to savings income, you know starting nil rate band is not available since NSI is more than 5,000. Regarding the savings nil rate band, the category of the taxpayer is higher rate category. So 500 will be available for savings nil rate band. So first 500 will be covered for 0%. Now, out of 37,700, because still the 37,700 nil rate, till 37,700 basic rate band, the tax rate is 20%. We all know that. So we have to see how much is the basic rate band still available. So from 37,700, I will reduce 34,150 and I will also reduce 500. I think that's where you did the mistake, Mohammed, right? You need to reduce 500 because I told you nil rate band will also use the basic rate band or higher rate band, whatever is applicable. Okay, so when I see how much is the rate band available from 37,700, I will reduce 34,150 and I will also reduce 500. Now we see that the rate band available is 3050 only. That 3050 now will be subject to 20%. So when you add 3050, you add 500 and 34,150, total will be 37,700. Done. Now the income beyond it is 2,000. 2,000 will be covered for 40%. Are we clear? Other way around, 550 less 500 less 3050, you will get 2,000. That 2,000 will be covered for 40%. So then your total tax liability will be 8240. Are we clear? Any doubts? Are you clear now? Where was the mistake, Mohammed? And Ashna, are you clear? Must have been a very minute mistake, right? That's good. That's good. Ashna, I hope you're clear. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and understand one more topic. Before we go in the understanding of let's go in understanding one more topic before we take up questions for dividend income, because that's needed to understand. Now, please keep listening to me. So I'm taking another new concept. So far, we have covered savings income, we have covered non-savings income. We have also covered dividend income today, where I told you there's a straightaway nil rate band of 1,000 available to all taxpayers. And the balance on the dividend income, basis on which rate band is applicable, we will apply the tax rates of 8.75%, 33.75%, or 39.35%. Whatever the person, based on the rate band that he is in, the rates will apply accordingly. Next thing or next concept that I'm taking is called as tapering of personal allowance. Tapering means there is a concept by which not every taxpayer will get 12,570 full PA. Some taxpayers will get even reduced PA or zero PA. It will never be negative, but PA can be reduced to zero. So what is that case? When the PA will be tapered, we call it reduced, or in technical terms, we call it tapered. When do we have the tapering of PA? So there is a way to cross check it. If the concept says if your adjusted net income is more than 1 lakh, then PA will be reduced by 50% of the excess over 1 lakh. Okay, I'll explain this. But first, let's understand how do we calculate adjusted net income. You know your net income? Just before PA. Just before PA, what your income is net income. You get the total of net income. Okay, the total of net income is 59,400, for example. So we take the total of net income. The total of net income generally when it is beyond 1 lakh, then we do this calculation. Okay. So adjusted net income is net income less two things. Which are the two things? So we will reduce gross gifted donations and we will reduce gross personal pension contributions. Okay. We reduce two things, gross gifted donations and gross personal pension contributions. I'll explain you what do they mean, these terminologies, and what do I mean by gross. So just give me 2 minutes and understand. First term, gifted donations. So basically, individuals can contribute towards donations to the different charities. We are gifting them because we don't charge in return. So when we give donations to the charities, in UK what happens? Suppose you have to pay 100, you want to contribute 100 to the charities. Okay? Suppose an individual wants to contribute 100 towards the charity. So if I have to pay to charity A, I will not pay 100. I will get a 20% benefit and I will pay only 80% of it, which is 80. So at the time of payment, I am making a payment of 80 to the charity. So we are making a payment to the charity of 80. But we are going to be making 20 to HMRC. I again repeat. Say totally 100 will go from your pocket. But how this 100 is broken or divided is, out of this 100, 80 will go to charity directly. 20 will go to HMRC. So it means that it is going in the pockets of HMRC? No. HMRC will give this to charity 20 when they are filing their returns. So just like we get the benefit of TDS when we file the return, it reduces the tax liability. On the same principles, this tax credit will be given to HMRC, will be given to the charities when they file their return. Okay, they can claim this 20. I hope we are clear. So this 80 that we are paying is called as net. And 100 that the total amount is called as gross. If I have to gross net amount, I will always take the net amount and I will divide by 80%. So you will say, ma'am, is it fixed? 80-20? Yes, it is fixed. So you will always divide net amount by 80% to get the gross amount. I hope I'm clear for this gross amount. Gifted donations are clear. When you're gifting as donations to aid the charities, this is called as gift aid donation. At the time of payment, we pay only 80 to charity directly, 20 goes to HMRC. So the net amount is 80 and the gross amount is 100. Just like we spoke and talked about the gifted donations, the next concept that we cover is personal pension contributions. Okay, personal pension contributions. Now, what is personal pension contribution? Let's understand. I hope you all are aware that in India also we contribute towards our pensions, to secure our old age. When we grow old, when we're retired, we need funds. So to secure it, we contribute towards our pension schemes, correct? In UK also you contribute towards your different pension schemes. So there are two ways in which an individual can contribute. If suppose I'm an employee and I'm working with a company, my employer will deduct pension contributions from the salary. Those pension contributions that the employer deducts is known as occupational pension contributions. Occupation is job. Occupational pension contribution. There is a chapter dedicated on pensions, so that there I'll cover all this in more detail. But right now, I just want to touch upon it and understand, make you understand. So occupational pension contributions is when the employer deducts pensions from the salary of the employee and it goes to the pension funds. But suppose if I am a self-employed person, I don't have an employer, or even if I am an employee, I want to contribute more towards my pension because I want to have, good amount for my future. So then individually also we can contribute to different pension schemes run by different insurance providers, banks, governments. They run different personal pension schemes. So personal pension contribution is when you are contributing towards your pension schemes on your own. An employer is not deducting it from your salary. These are called as personal pension contributions. So just like on the same principles of gifted donations, when we make payments towards the pension, we only pay 80%. 20% is going to HMRC that goes to the personal pension corpus later on. So when you're making payment, you're only making net 80%. And what is the gross amount? Again, you will do the same grossing up. If 80 is the amount, 80 divided by 80%. Same way, just like gifted donation. Okay, so the contributions to the personal pensions schemes as well as the gifted donations, gross amount, you will calculate the gross amount and then you will reduce it from the net income to get the adjusted net income. If the question is silent, we assume the amount given is gross only. Okay, I again repeat. So now let's go back to the formula. The formula says if your adjusted net income is more than 1 lakh, then the PA will be tapered or PA will be reduced. Adjusted net income is the total of net income less gross gifted donations, less gross personal pension contributions. I will do a question to make you understand that also. Don't worry. So in your exam, questions will not ask you to do the tapering of PA always. Questions will be silent. When you're doing question, it should come to your mind the moment you see the net income beyond 1 lakh. It should come to your mind that since it is going beyond 1 lakh, tapering of PA may be applicable. Okay? How do we calculate the tapering of PA now? Tapering of PA will be calculated. You just take the excess of net income, adjusted net income over 1 lakh. Suppose your adjusted net income is 1 lakh 10,000. How much is the excess over 1 lakh? 10,000. Take 50% of excess. 10,000, 50% is 5,000. So your PA will be reduced by 5,000. That means if your PA is 12,570, you will reduce 5,000 from it. So PA will become 7,570. And that you will reduce from your net income. Okay, I've given you the example here. So now if 1,10,000 is my ANI, then okay, if 1,10,000 is the ANI, excess is 10,000. 50% of excess is 5,000. So final PA will become 12,570 less 5,000. That means 7,570 only you will be eligible to reduce from your net income. Okay, now let's take one more example. Suppose my ANI is 125,140. Excess is 25,140. Okay. %50 of excess is 12,570. Okay, now when you reduce this amount from your PA amount, what you get? 0. So no PA will be available. Yes. So you'll always find that when ANI is 1,25,140 or more, no PA is available because it can never go negative. So maximum it will be reduced to 0. Let's take one more example. If my ANI is 150,000, what is the excess over 1 lakh, guys? 50,000. 50% of it is 25,000. Reduce from 12,570, 25,000. You will get something in negative. But I told you, PA can never become negative. You can never ask PA from HMRC, you give us the PA. No. It will always be reduced to 0. So since it is coming negative, final PA will be 0. I hope these 3 examples are clear. Any questions in ANI? I am taking one question. But before that, please tell me, is the topic absolutely clear? Tapering of PA? Are you all absolutely crystal clear for the same, guys? Ashna, Deepika, Kritika, Nikita, all of you. Let's take one question, and then if you have still any queries, put up in the chat box. Okay? I'm taking one question. Sorry. Okay, so here I'm discussing tapering of PA. All of you, please focus on my screen. Illustration 1, I'm taking. Be very, very watchful when you're looking at my screen, because next question you will be doing. In 2023-24, the tax year, this is the way to write the tax year. So in this tax year, Claire receives employment income of 95,000, bank interest of 8,000, and dividends of 7,500. Everything covered here, I'm covering this question. So I'll create a category, NSI, SI, DI, shortcuts. In exam, you'll write full form. I'm writing a shortcuts. Okay, so now Claire receive employment income. So I'll write here employment income. Employment income will come under NSI 95,000. Next is bank interest. Will come under savings income 8,000. Dividends 7,500. You will get here total income, or even if you write net income, I mean, one and the same thing, because we have not yet discussed any questions on qualifying interest. Now from this, I will reduce P. Okay, but for that, first I need to see what is my net income. So here I'll use the term net income. The reason being total income and net income is one and the same thing here. Okay, I'll take the total. The total is coming as 110,500. Now it is going beyond 1 lakh. So now let's calculate. I'm doing here working for tapering of period. Okay, now for that, first I need to calculate ANI. ANI is equal to net income less gross gifted donations less gross personal pension contributions. Is the question giving you any detail about the gross gifted donations or personal pension contributions? No, there's nothing given. So here ANI will be equal to NI only. ANI will be equal to then same 1,10,500, right? Because there is nothing to reduce. Now let's calculate the table. Now you got ANI. So the second step is get excess over 1 lakh. How much is the excess over 1 lakh? 1,10,500 less 1 lakh. You will always show this calculation in your answers if you're writing section C answers. Okay, so start that practice from day one only. 10,500 is the excess over 1 lakh. Now get 50% of the excess. 5250. 50% of the excess is 5250. Okay. Now the tapered PA will be, I'll say PA allowed is 12,570. So tapered PA available will be from 12,570, I will reduce 50% of the excess. That is 5250. So I'm left with 7320. I will reduce here only 7320. I hope I'm clear. Till this point, tapering of PA. If there's any queries, please put up in the chat box, people. Now I'll calculate the taxable income. Get the total of taxable income because we need to know the category of the taxpayer. 1,03,180, since it is less than 150,000 but more than 37,700, he is a higher rate taxpayer. Declared it. Clear? Anybody with any queries? Put it in the chat box. Now let's do the calculation of income tax liability. First, I'll take the heading NSI and it is 87,680. Since it is beyond 37,700, I will first take 37,700 at 20%. So the tax would be 7,540. But it is not yet completed. There is still NSI some portion left. So from this, I will reduce 37,700. I get 49,990. That will be taxed at 40%, the next tax rate. And I will multiply this with this. Got it? You can cross-check always. Just get the total of NSI if you want. It is matching. So I've covered the entire NSI. Now let's go to SI. I'll give the heading savings income. For savings income, please check, is the starting nil rate band available? No, because NSI is more than 5,000. Then check, is the savings nil rate band available? Yes, as is a higher rate taxpayer. So savings nil rate band of 500 is available, right? So I'll write here. Now the remaining savings income will be taxed at higher rate as the basic rate band is already over. So the remaining savings income is 8,000 less 500 at 40%. Now let's take dividend income. Okay, now let's take dividend income. So when we take dividend income, what is the dividend income? 7,500. Irrespective of what is the category of the taxpayer, every taxpayer will get 1,000 nil rate band. So I will write here 1,000. I'll give a nil rate band of 0%. Now the remaining dividend income is 7,500 less 1,000. Total becomes 7,500. All the three incomes are matching. Now what is the tax rate? I will not apply 40%. He's a higher rate category taxpayer. So I need to go into the table and see what is the tax rate applicable to dividend income. So I'll go in the table and I will find that the tax rate applicable to dividend income for a higher rate band is 33.75%. So here I'll apply 33.75%. Now I'll multiply it. I got this. Now get the totals. So the total tax liability comes as total tax liability come as 32726. Is there any questions, any queries in understanding it? Here we have just calculated the PA tapering. I've showed you the entire tax calculation. Yes, I'll repeat them again. It's very simple, Mohammed. Three savings nil rate bands are there. For a basic rate category, 1000 is the nil rate band, maximum 1000. For higher rate category, 500 is the nil rate band. For additional rate, there is no nil rate band. So it's 1500, that's the savings nil rate band. Okay, are you all clear with the calculations of tapering, the calculations for dividend income, the calculation of tax liability? Quickly put it in the chat box. Are you clear? Yes or no? Ashna, Deepika, Kritika, Nikita, Mohammed. All of you, please type it yes or no. Are there still any queries and doubts? And I'll take it again. Should we do more questions now? That would help you in understanding better. So instead of taking a new concept right now, let's take straight away more questions. Okay, a very simple question. Simple net income is given to you. Just a moment. Okay, you just have to tell me what is the tapered PA. After tapering, what is the PA? I think you can give me this answer. Activity 4, give me the answer. Type it in the chat box. Just tell me what is the tapered PA. Only that amount I need. Only one information is there. Net income is 1,05,000. Just remember the steps. Calculate ANI. Take the excess over 1 lakh. Third step, take 50% of the excess. Reduce that amount from your PA amount of 12,570. The balance amount is the tapered amount. Type it in the chat box, all of you, quickly. Nikita, just check your calculations. I think it is wrong. Come on, I want answers quickly. Deepika and Ashna, type it in the chat box. Okay, it is not how you've taken 7570. You have to reduce straight away 5,000, Ashna. You have to take 50% of excess. Okay? No. Look here. Okay, please look here. Now, your what is ANI here? 1,05,000. All of you are clear for it? So yes, Deepika, you are correct. Kritika, Mohammed, you are correct. Nikita, wrong. And Ashna, wrong. Just see where you went wrong. 1,05,000. I'll take the calculations here. 1,05,000 is ANI. Focus here, Ashna. Focus here, okay? Now just stop doing calculation. Focus on my question. 1,05,000 is ANI. What is excess? This is a 4-step answer. What is excess? Over 1 lakh. When you reduce 1 lakh from it, you get 5,000 as excess. I'm sure you must have got it. Next step is get 50% of the excess. 50% is this multiplied by 50%, which is 2500. Okay? Yes, Nikita, you're correct. You got 50% of the excess 2500. Now simply reduce it from your PA available. What is the PA available? 12570. So when you reduce it, you get your tapered PA. Tapered PA will be 12570 less 2500. Okay, you will reduce the 50% of excess from PA. Then you get 10070 as the answer. Tell me where you went wrong or what you was not clear. I'll clarify it again. Ashna. Is there something that is confusing? Then I'll clarify it. Please type it in the chat box quickly, Ashna. Okay, are you now clear? Absolutely. Now I hope you will be able to do the question one. Okay, let's just do one more question before I take up the next question. For 1,20,000 ANI, tell me what is the tapered PA, all of you. Quick, 1 minute answering. All of you type it in the chat box. I don't want what is the amount tapered. I want to know what is the final PA. After the tapering, what is the tapered PA? I want this amount. Okay, what is the tapered PA? Give me that amount, all of you. Okay, you must be correct. I've not checked it. I'll also calculate it to check it. So I'm receiving 4 answers. Kritika, are you sure it is 11,570? It looks wrong. Check again and rework. Do the rework, Kritika. Ashna, this time I want correct answer. Quickly type it in the chat box. I'm just giving you 30 seconds more. Ashna and Kritika, give me the correct answer. You just have to give me this figure, Ashna and Kritika. What is the tapered PA? Seems correct. So I believe that 2570 is the answer. Let's check it. What is excess? Excess is 20,000. What is 50% of the excess? 10,000. What is the PA available? 12,570. So what is the tapered PA? This minus 10,000. 2570. Wonderful. Kritika, are you clear now? Give me the wrong answer. Yeah, Kritika, no, you are correct. All of you are correct. Right? So I hope now you're clear with this concept. Okay, let's take a question more. I'm going to take up 2-3 questions now for dividend income and tapering before I take up the next question, next topic. So don't keep your calculators down. Okay, give me the answer for this one. Employment income is 1,45,000. Property income is 10,800. Only these two income is there. You have to calculate the tapered PA. You have to calculate the final tax liability as well. Okay, so just give me the answer for final tax liability. Be quick. I won't give you more than 1.5 minutes. Be quick. Quick, everyone, just 30 seconds more. Calculate the taxes and give me the taxes in the chat box. Seems correct. Mohammed and Nikita, good. Come on, everyone, speed up. Just 20 seconds more now. Not more than that. Some mistake, Kritika. Check again. Okay, last. Ashna, quickly. 5 seconds more. Okay, let's discuss the answer. So the employment income is 1,45,000. Property income is 10,800. Both of them are a part of NSI that we know. Total is 1,55,800. Okay, so let's see what is the correct answer. 1,55,800. Okay. Now, definitely, there is no other thing. So it is ANI. Since ANI is beyond 1 for 25, 140, it gives me an idea that no TPA will be available. PA will be reduced to 0. So we'll not get any PA. This will be the taxable income. 155,800, right? No PA will be available. As it is much more than excess is much more. And you know, it can never be negative. So it will be reduced to 0. The net income or the taxable income, both will become 155,800. Now you will calculate taxes. There is no savings income. It's only NSI that we have. No nil rep bands available. So till 37,700, you will take 20%. Then from 37,701 till 150,000. Just a moment. Oh, just a moment. There is an update. There is an update. I had just skipped that update. Okay. I'll just do an update. So you all are correct. Just make one small update. There is a change in the rate band. So I just skip that update. The rate band has changed a bit. So just correct for that. Now the additional rate band, the higher rate band is till 125, 140 only. Okay, just make that change. Okay, and above 1,25,140, the rate band will start. This is a change from the current year only. So it just got missed by me. Anyways, I know you all have done the correct calculations. Now instead of taking till 150,000, we will take till 125, 140. So there's one question that even I did. I will just do the corrections there. Just see how do we do the corrections. Okay, here we don't need because the taxable income is not beyond that. Okay, so just make the corrections here. I'll just show you the calculations, how to do this. Okay, I'll take up the question here. Okay, please make this small change in your rate bands till 1,25,000, 140, the higher rate band is there. Let's take up this question again. What's the question? Give it this question only, no? Yeah. Okay, so let's do illustration 2 here. Illustration 2. Okay, now please look here. So we have NSI. Employment income is 1,45,000. We have one more income, property income. Property income is 10,800. Add the two. 155,800. Now this will be your net income as well as your taxable income, right? Income tax liability calculation. Let's do. Okay, now please see how to apply the new slab rates. So we have till 37,700. It will be at 20%. Now the slab rate, the next level is only till 125, 140 and not 150,000. That was till the last year. So 125, 140. From this we reduce 37,700. We get 87,440. Multiply it with 40% and we will get the tax here. Yes, Nikita, you're correct. Okay. Now let's take the remaining tax income. The remaining taxable income will be 1,55,800 less 87,440 and less 37,700. So we get the remaining income. Yeah, correct, Mohammed. So the revised slab rate is the slab rate applicable to the higher additional rate would be 45% in the additional rate band. So the taxes would be this multiplied by this 13,797. Now add everything and you get the tax liability 56,313. Okay. I hope you're clear, all of you. So just make this updation that your additional rate category is now starting, additional rate band is now starting from 125, 141 onwards. I'll repeat the rate band again, just for everybody's understanding. So till 37,700, the basic rate band is 20%. For dividend income, it is 8.75%. From 37,701 till 125, 140, it is 40%. For dividend income, it is 33.75%. Beyond 1,25,140, it is 39.35% for dividend income and 45% for NSI and SI. I hope you're clear. Please make the changes at your end also for 125, 140 and not 150,000. Let's do one more question. We've done this question. We've covered this question as well, right? Yes. Now let's do this question quickly. Maddie has trading income of 121,940. Building society interest of 6,700. Please calculate Maddie's tax liability quickly. 125, 140. I've typed it in the chat box. This is the limit for additional rate band instead of 150,000. Okay. Now please calculate by default tapering of PA. It is not mentioned, but you know it is not taxable income. It is trading income in BSI. So you need to get net income and then from net income you will reduce PA if there is any applicable. Otherwise, net income will become taxable income. So please read the question and apply the clauses accordingly. Apply the nil rate bands and all based on the category of the taxpayer. So please do all that calculation. Give me the final answer. So the rate bands are till 37,700, 20%. 37,701 till 125, 140. It is 40%. And then 125, 140 till 125, 141 onwards, it is 45%. Oh, I'm sorry. Please do. Everybody type it quickly. So we have two different answers coming up, 44,251 and 44,091. Let's see. It's correct. Give me the other answers also quickly. Speed up, Kritika, Nikita, Ashna, answers. Quick, quick, quick. I really want quick answering. Okay, so Ashna, give me your answer now, quickly. Okay, let's discuss the answers. So the correct answer is 44,091. It is not 43,076. It is not 44,251. Just see where you went wrong. So the total of the income, there is no PA available. So the total would be 128,640. Till 37,700, 20%. Okay. For NSI, the remaining income 121,940 less 37,700 will be taxed at 40%. When you come to savings income, there is no starting nil rate band available and there is no additional rate band. There is no savings income nil rate band also available because once he's an additional rate category taxpayer, there is no nil rate band available. Since it is 120 at 640, it is more than 125, 140. The new additional rate category nil rate band. The new additional rate category rate bands. Some of you may have skipped it. Kritika and Ashna. Deepika and Ashna. That's okay. Completely okay. Okay. In the initial questions, it may take place. So there is no starting nil rate band available as well as no savings income nil rate band also available for this category taxpayer. So straight away 128,640 since he's additional rate category taxpayer, none of the nil rate bands are available. Now straight away 6,700 will be put to tax. Okay, but we have to see if there is any higher rate band available. The rate band is still 125, 140. We have just put to tax 121, 940. So the remaining, that is 125, 140 less 121, 940. The difference is still a part of the higher rate band. So that will be taxed at 40%. And the remaining would be taxed at 45%. I hope you are clear. Very good, Amit. See, practice makes you perfect. Ashna, are you clear now? The mistake that you must have done? Deepika, are you clear now? Ashna, are you able to identify where you went wrong? Okay. What was the mistake, Ashna and Deepika, that you encountered? Type it in the chat box. I just want to know where you went wrong. Okay. Are you clear now about the tapering of period? You can never take negative. It will always be positive. Okay. Silly mistake that was. No issues. Okay, now try to overcome your mistakes with this question. Now here you will have dividend nil rate band of 1000 applicable to all taxpayers and the dividend rates will apply. I will type in the dividend rates in the chat box for all of you. Okay, so that you don't have to type, go in anywhere else. Just typed in this, I'm sorry, typed in. You all must have received it. Now please apply these rules and give me the answer for this question, illustration 6. If you have any questions, any queries, if you are stuck anywhere, just type it in the chat box. I'll guide you. Okay, any slab rates you want to know, just ask me in the chat box. Come on, type it answers in the chat box, all of you. Type your answers quickly. Different answers coming up. We have 16760, 15535. Okay. But that's good to make mistakes early on. You learn from your mistakes. Okay, Kritika. Come on. Other two revert quickly. Deepika and Ashna. Okay, let's discuss the answers. So, which is the correct answer? Let's see. 15535. Okay. Uh, yes, very good, Deepika. Correct. Okay, now see, Mohammed, where you went wrong. This is the non-savings income, savings income, dividend income given to you. Full PA will be available as it is not beyond 1 lakh. So no question of tapering is there. Your total taxable income is 60,750 is a higher rate taxpayer. Non-savings income till 37,700, 20%, and the remaining non-savings income at 40%. For the savings income, there is a there is a savings nil rate band of 500 available as is a higher rate taxpayer. So the remaining savings income will be taxed at 40%. When we come to dividend income, we have to apply the dividend rates that I've sent you in the chat box. 1000 starting nil rate band or dividend nil rate band is available to all taxpayers, that will be at 0%. The remaining dividend income now, since is a higher rate, he's into the higher rate band currently, so the remaining dividend income will be at 33.75%. So the total tax liability will be 15535. So I think, Mohammed, some mistakes for you in the savings nil rate band or dividend nil rate band or dividend tax rate. Have I highlighted it correctly? Any of these three went wrong? Yeah, I got it. That's okay. That's a part, this will happen. Once you do more questions, you'll be more clear. That's good. Okay, now for today, I'm giving you activity 5 as homework. Those who don't have books, quickly click the picture of the same. Just one thing is new here about the pay, and you know that from the final tax calculations, you will reduce pay to get the final tax liability. Those who don't have the books, I hope you have clicked the question. Get done. This is your homework. Take the third one also. Yeah. Calculate Fabian's income tax liability. Click it for the third question as well. Fine. Let's go on. And this is also homework. Please click it. Activity 6. Both we are going to discuss in the next class. The homework questions always are discussed in the next class. Again, please see there is again a payee here. I hope you have clicked the picture. Activity 7 also. Three questions so far I have given you. I'll be giving you more questions as well. Okay, some more additional tax calculations are given to you in your essential reading. So all those who have books, access your essential reading. As I told you, with every chapter that you do, parallelly you're going to access and cover your essential reading as well. Do the questions that are given there, please practice them also. It will help you, by doing more practice. Okay. I'll take up this topic and then I'm going to give you a break. Okay, so now I come to a topic which is more of a tax planning topic. It is transferable PA. What is transferable PA concept? Just understand. There is spouse 1. Just a moment. Okay, no problems, man. No problems, Mohammed. Okay, let's do one thing, people. Then let's have a break now only, so that when we rejoin, we'll be doing the topics in continuity. Okay, Mohammed, you also take your time that time. So let's just have a 10 minutes break. It's 9:04. Let's resume at 9:15. Okay, and then we take continuously and we'll complete this chapter. Okay, 9:15. Please don't leave because we are covering important topics now. Okay, let's begin and let's discuss this topic. Transferable PA. We also call it as marriage allowance. Why? It is the concept where one spouse or a civil partner can transfer PA to the other spouse or the other civil partner. Fine? So they can make an election to transfer. What do I mean by election to transfer? That means they will inform HMRC, they will make election to HMRC, in their return that they want to transfer a fixed amount of PA to their other spouse. Why it is fixed? Because HMRC has made it fixed that only 10% of the PA. What is the PA amount? 12570. 10% of it is 1257, rounding it off 1260. So only 1260 of the PA amount fixed, nothing more than this, nothing less than this, will be transferred by one spouse to the other spouse. Any conditions for the same? Yes. Once an election is made, it will be there for year on year unless we again write to HMRC that we do not want to continue with this election. So unless that election, unless we de-elect it, it is assumed that for 23-24, if we have made the election, same will continue for 24-25, 25-26, and so on. Every year it will by default apply. 10% of PA will automatically be transferred. You cannot transfer 5%, you cannot transfer 15%. It's a fixed 10%. So either you make an election to transfer 10% or you make 0%. Third, both the spouses should be of basic rate category only. Even if one spouse goes into higher rate category, the election will stop. If marriage is no longer there, civil partnership is no longer there, election will stop. Okay, so primary condition is both the spouse should be of the basic rate category and only 1260, this will be given to you in your tax rates and allowances chart, can only be transferred from one spouse to another. Third question, or the next question that can come up is, ma'am, how it is going to be transferred? I mean, do we add it to the PA of the second spouse? Do we add it to the PA of the second spouse? No, we will not add it. Rather, it will be adjusted as a tax reducer. You remember how we did the reduction of payee? The same way, we are going to reduce it from the overall tax liability of the second spouse as a tax reducer. Meaning to say, I will explain you with an example. Don't worry for that. So you're not going to increase 12570. Your 12570 will never be increased. Hi Nidhi, good morning. And we are discussing transferable PA concept of chapter 2. Okay? Yeah, so what I was saying, I'll repeat again. It's a marriage allowance that we are considering. Marriage allowance is a topic of tax planning where suppose one spouse is having very low income. So PA is getting wasted. So instead of wasting the PA, we can transfer it to the second spouse. But maximum PA that can be transferred is 10% only. In fact, minimum is also 10%. So it's a fixed 10% of the PA, which is 1260, can only be transferred to the second spouse. When we transfer PA, it doesn't increase 12570. That will remain 12570 only. PA amount will never change. But for the second spouse, when we calculate the tax liability, From just like we reduce from tax liability paid, like that we will reduce tax reducer on marriage allowance, or we call it as marriage allowance. So that will again be a fixed amount, 1260 multiplied by 20%, which will be a fixed 252 to be reduced. Okay, so tax reducer will reduce, please look here. So instead of increasing the PA, the spouse or the civil partner receiving the transfer does not increase PA. Instead, they are entitled to a tax reducer of 1260 multiplied by 20%, which is 252, fixed amount 252. This tax reducer will reduce their individual's total tax liability. So just like we reduce pay, we will reduce the tax reducer of 252 as well. Okay. Hi, good morning, Himanshu. We are discussing marriage allowance. Okay. And the basic condition, please remember that neither the spouse or the civil partner making the transfer nor the spouse or the civil partner receiving the transfer can be a higher rate or additional rate taxpayer. Summarize, if I do it, both the receiver spouse and the giver spouse or the transferor spouse, both of them should be basic rate category taxpayers only. And the benefit to the second spouse is in the form of reduction of the tax liability by 252. Right? Let's just take this concept again and few more questions before we go on in doing more questions from the book. Yeah, no, we will reduce 252 from receiver spouse tax liability. Okay, and for the giver spouse, the PA amount will reduce by 1260. I'll show you with an example. Just look here. And then if you have doubts or queries, ask me. I've given some examples here. So just look here, okay? Now, marriage allowances, PA transfer. We transfer a fixed amount of 10% PA, that is 1260, can be transferred. And both the spouses or the partners should be in the basic rate category. When we transfer it, it is transferred in the way of tax reducer, can be transferred, and benefit or a tax reducer of 252 GBP will be claimed by the receiver spouse. Okay, so just see how do we do it. Let's take one question. For example, I've taken a case where Mr. A has got a net income of 9,000. Mrs. A has got a net income of 45,000. It's a normal tax calculation I'm showing you to show you the benefit. Okay. So when we calculate the tax normally, 9,000 will get reduced from here, PA, and here 12,570 will get reduced. When you calculate the tax liability for Mr. A, there is zero tax liability, right? As we have done the calculations earlier. And for Mrs. A, the tax liability is 6,486. Now, if you find here, I have taken the concept of tax reducer also. I'll explain you that. The taxable income, please see for both of them. Are they in the basic rate category? Please check. Taxable income of Mr. A is 0 and Mrs. A is 32,430. Yes, they are in the basic rate category. So can Mr. A transfer PA to Mrs. A? Yes, he can. How much? 1260. Okay. Now that will not be transferred in a way that this will increase. If you see, we have taken PA as 12570 only. Why Mr. A is transferring? Because his PA is getting wasted. As you know, PA cannot be carried forwarded. It's getting lapsed. So instead of wasting it, he can transfer it to Mrs. A so that overall tax liability of the family or the couple will get reduced. Right? Now, if you find here, Mr. A has elected to transfer PA to Mrs. A. He has done that election. So now please see how we show this election in the calculations. You will calculate the normal tax liability, how we do. So the tax liability will be 32,430 multiplied by 20% straight away. I assume it is NSI. Okay. I hope we are clear till this point. Now from 6486, I will reduce a tax reducer of 252. Mrs. A is the receiver spouse. She will get the benefit of 252. At the basic rate percentage only, you will always reduce. And so the final tax liability of Mrs. A is 6234. Any questions here? Are you able to understand how tax reducer was applied here and how the final tax liability got reduced? Is this now clear, Ashna? Everyone, I hope now you're clear. Anybody with any doubts, please put it in the chat box. Okay, let's take two more examples. Okay, now second case, I'm taking an example where Mr. A has again elected to transfer. In both the cases, Mr. A has elected to transfer. Now please see, his income is beyond 12,570. But since Mr. A has made the election, he cannot claim full PA. How much PA is available for him? 12570 less 1260. Why? 1260 is transferred to Mrs. A. So Mr. A will not get full PA, he will get 11310 only. Now, if you find here his taxable income is 1690, he can't help it, he will have to pay taxes on it. But for Mrs. A, the tax liability will reduce by 252. And final liability of Mrs. A will again become 6234. The tax liability of Mr. A in this case will become 338, and this will be the total tax liability. Are you clear how I applied 1260 reduction of PA here and how I have given tax reducer? Is this clear now, everyone? So why are we applying 20%, Kritika? Because 20%, they both are the basic rate category taxpayer. So what taxable benefit they will have? Only 20%, right? So therefore, we are giving a tax reducer. Tax is calculation we are doing. What is, see, if my PA gets increased, tax gets reduced, right? So we're just calculating what is the effect of reduction on taxes if PA is increased. So if we receive more 1260, my tax will be reduced by 252. That is what we are doing. Got it? Okay. Just one thing. I'm showing you one example here. Just to show you. In fact, even without example, I can show you here. You know, when is this transferable option more beneficial? It is more beneficial when the first spouse is actually having taxable income till the PA limit only. Because once the PA limit gets crossed, you can see a taxability arises for the giver spouse also. Okay. So Mr. A will also have taxability here. Mrs. A is also having taxability. If you find the normal taxes in this case, you will find the overall taxes remaining same. Just look here. If I just calculate the normal taxes here, let's calculate the normal tax liability. I assume that there is no transfer taking place. I'm just showing you how it looks like. If there is no transfer taking place, Mr. A will claim full PA. He will have 430 taxable income. Tax liability will be 86. Mrs. A, tax liability will be normal. No tax reducer will be there as we are claiming normal situation. What is the overall tax liability? 6572. When I claim tax reducer, then also we are getting 6572. So there is no impact on the overall taxability if the giver spouse has taxable income beyond the PA limits. So this I'm telling you as a planning tool. When we're doing planning questions in the exam, remember, if a giver spouse has taxable income up to the PA limits, then it makes more benefits to transfer PA. Got it? Let's do a question to be more clear about it. So I'm taking a question. I'm doing it here, okay? Just to be more clear for this. Alec and Bartha are a married couple. In the tax year 23-24, Alec has net income of 11,220 and Bertha has net income of 26,570. All their income is non-savings income. Alec has made an election to transfer part of his PA to Bertha. You know, part means 1260 will be transferred. That we will reduce from Alec's PA, and for Bertha, we will give a tax reducer. Show Alec and Bertha's taxable income for 23-24 and compute Bertha's income tax liability. I'll compute for both. Let's do this question. Okay. So we're doing illustration 7. Everyone, please focus on my screen. This is Alec, Bertha. Okay, there is a non-savings income only. So this is the net income. I'll write here net income. For Alec, the net income is 11,220. For Bertha, it is 26,570. Ideally, I should insert the pound symbol also. I'll insert it here. We have got the net income. Now let's reduce PA. Now you know that Alec will only get the PA which is after reduction of 1260. So it is 12,570 the PA. From this we will reduce 1260. Nikita, you've calculated? Let's check it once I've done it. So Alec will get a PA of 11,310. But 11,310 is also more than this. So we will reduce full 11,220. Clear? Here, Bertha will receive normal PA 12,570. I will reduce it and I will get taxable income. Got it? Now let's calculate income tax liability for Bertha. Because for Alec, there will be no income tax. So for Bertha, we'll calculate the liability. 14,000. Normally tax we will calculate. This is NSI. I'll give the heading. 14,000 will be taxed at 20%. 2,800. Now we will reduce tax reducer. Tax reducer is marriage allowance. You will write like this in the exam. Marriage allowance. Straight away 252 to be reduced. Okay. Now when you reduce it, you get your final tax liability. $2,548. Are you clear with this, everyone? Everyone, are you clear with this? Ashna, Nidhi, Deepika, are you all clear? Kritika? Good. Let's try one question now. Okay, let's do this. Very good question. Read it carefully and give me the first question answer. Okay, give me the first question answer. Give me the answer for the first question. Okay, so Nikita, you are correct. Deepika, you are correct. Dakshesh, you are correct. Ashna, you are correct. Very good. No Mohammed. Please see, this is employment income, Mohammed. You will reduce PA to get the taxable income. We see the category of taxpayer based on the taxable income and not on the basis of the employment income. Yeah. Who's logged in with the name of Dakshesh? Please just type it in the chat box. Your name only? Okay, fine. Okay, very good. Deepika, correct. Yes, Mohammed, you're correct. So everybody, you are correct. It is option C. The reason being, of course, you find that the Ash has got the lower income. So definitely, Ash would be the one who will be transferring 1260 of his PA because it is less than PA amount as well. Wonderful. C is the answer. Give me the second one answer. After giving the tax reducer, what is the tax calculation? Give me that. Everybody type it in the chat box. Correct, Nikita. Very good. No issues. So what's your wife's name, Dakshish? I mean, I just want to know, were you there in the class earlier also? Okay, so it is in the name of, got it. Okay, so Dakshish correct, Nikita correct, wonderful, Ashna correct, very good. Deepika correct, Mohammed correct, very good. So all of you are correct, wonderful people. It is C the correct answer. Now you guys are on the track, very good. Now you know about the gifted donation, we have already covered. I will just tell you now. Uh, we have the extended rate band here. Okay, now I will give you an extension understanding of gifted donations and the personal pension contributions. Okay, just keep listening to me. A small new concept is there. I'll take you to the notes. I will share this sheet also after the class, so you can refer to everything that we have covered here. Now please see here. Now I'll take up the concept of extension of rate band. Okay, so please be attentive when I take up this concept. I think I had written it. I framed some questions also. So accordingly, you can try all these questions. I'll give you the notes here. Okay, please look here on my screen. I've taken the concept of extension of the rate bands. Extension of the rate bands means that you know what is your BRB, your existing. Now let's take an example here. Okay, I'll explain you with an example. The question gives you that the gross gifted donation is 10,000 and gross personal pension contribution the gross personal pension contribution is 15,000. This question gives you the data. You know that these two amounts will reduce the net income to calculate ANI for the tapering of PA. Correct? I'm sure you all are now familiar with it. It is used at some other place also. So what happened in tapering of PA? Actually, we reduced PA, right? So thereby you will say we have increased our tax liability because when PA got reduced, liability got increased in a way. Now, extension of rate bands help you to reduce your tax liability. How? Please see. Extension of the rate band means what is your existing. So in this example, I am taking the rate bands existing and now revised, or I'll say extended. Please focus on my screen. Okay, what is your existing rate bands? The BRB and HRB. These two rate bands we take because ARB doesn't have upper limits. I talk about those upper limits. BRB has got the upper limit of 37,700. HRB has got the upper limit of 125,140. Are you all with me till this point? Anybody who's not with me, type it in the chat box if you are not on the same page. Clear? When I say extended rate band, it means now this rate band will get extended by the amount of gross gifted donation and by the amount of gross personal pension contribution, gross amount. So now my extended rate band will become 62,700. What does this mean? This means that now the new rate band and the tax rate. Band will be from 0 to 62,700. Tax rate will be 20%. And in this case, your extended rate band will be 125,140 plus again both the amounts you will add. So in both rate bands, both amount will be added. 150, 140. So the next limit will be from 62,701 till 150,140. It will be only 40%. So do you see that by 25,000, your tax rates gap got widened? So now ideally this 25,000 may have been covered in 40% rate. But since the rate band got extended, now instead of having 37,700 for 20%, we have the upper limit of 62,700 for 20%. Just like the way the BRB got extended, HRB also is getting extended by the same amount. So we are having the benefit of lower taxes now, right? Because if the rate bands were not extended, we would not have got the benefit of lower taxes. Are we clear now? Everyone, are you clear? I'll repeat again. By the amount of gross gifted donation and gross personal pension contribution, whatever is given to you, the rate bands will get extended by the same amount. So if my existing rate band is, basic rate band is 37,700, it will get extended by 25,000 and it will become 62,700. So from 0 to 62,700, tax rate will be 20%. Just like that, the higher rate band will also get extended from 125,140 plus 25,000. So it will get extended from 62,701 till 150,140. This will become 40%. And now you will see, if you want to know what is your additional rate band, I'll write that also. So additional rate band existing was 125, 141 onwards. But now the extended one, there's no extension here. So the new rate band will be 150,141 onwards. It will become 45%. Are we all absolutely crystal clear? Anyone with any doubts? Ashna, Dakshish, Deepika, Mohammed, Mohammed, Dikita? Great. Very good. Okay. So I think we can do one question. And I really want you all to try this question now. Illustration 8. Please do it in the chat box. And give me the answer in the chat box. Sorry. So there's a Margareta who earns a salary of 112,000. Understand it's a salary income. So we have not right now given the taxable income. From salary income, you need to reduce that PA calculations and all need to be done. So in January 24, she made a gifted donation. Boss, focus. You have to apply gifted donations at two places. This is your net income, 1,12,000. You will have to calculate ANI. For that, you will reduce gifted donations and calculate ANI. Okay? Second place, you will apply gross gifted donations to extend the rate band. Take 2-3 minutes, comfortably do this. I hope everybody is able to do. Anyone facing any questions, any queries? Anywhere that you're stuck, type it in the chat box. I'll guide you. And the ones who are able to do, quickly type your answers in the chat box. Remember to calculate ANI, taper your PA. PA will be tapered. reduce the tapered PA and get the taxable income and extend the rate bands. Accordingly, apply the tax rates. Okay, I've got the first answer from Nikita. Rest everyone also quickly start pouring your answers in. So I've got two answers. Three different answers: 32, 132, 46, 196, and 33, 160. Quickly, everyone, start pouring in your answers. Ashna, Dakshesh, answers. Okay, let's discuss the answers. First step, 112,000. From this, when I reduce, now 5,000 gifted donation is given net. So first step, let's gross it up. Okay, I've got two similar answers now, 32, 132. Okay. Let's first see what is the correct answer. It is, the taxes is not given. Let's calculate it here with me. I'll do it. So I will do one thing. I'll take this question in the practice. Expression 8, I'm doing it. So you have NSI. I'll write here employment income. 112,000. From this, you will reduce PA. Okay, now what will be the PA? I'll do the working here. Think of PA. PA is 12570. Now what is ANI? Now for that, first I need, what is NI? Net income is 112,000. I will write here gift aid donation net. Net is given to you 5,000. Okay, so now gross it up. Gross gift aid donation will be, you know how to gross it up, divided by 80%. 6250, right? Now you can calculate ANI. ANI will be net income less 6250. This is your ANI. Now calculate excess over 100,000. It will be this minus 100,000. You got the excess. Now get 50% of the excess. This multiplied by 50%. 2875. So now I will write here tapered P. Tapered PA will be 9695. 9695. Okay. At the same time, I will also calculate extension of the rate band. I just need to calculate BRB extension because income is not beyond HRB. Existing BRB. Now extended will be gross amount we will add 43,950 is the extended rate band. So now here I will reduce the tapered PA 9695. So I will have taxable income. This is the taxable income, people. I hope we are clear. Now let's calculate the tax liability. Okay, so first the BRB we will take. Now we'll take the extended rate band 43,950. Okay, so this will be covered for 20%. The tax would be the tax would be this multiplied by this. I'll explain tapered P. Let me just complete it. I'll explain. Now HRB will be the remaining 102,305 less this 58,355. I'll just take the total. This will be covered for 40%. 23342. Now add it. The correct answer is 32132. Who got it correct? So Deepika and Nikita got it correct. Now, those who got it wrong, I suppose now you know where you went wrong. But I'll explain it again. First step, how do we calculate tapered PA? For that, I need to calculate ANI. Net income is given to you 1,12,000. I hope Ashna, you're clear till here. The question gives you gross gifted donation, which is net. What we reduce is gross. So I need to make it gross. 5,000, in order to make 5,000 gross, I need to divide it by 80%. So when I divide this by 80%, I get gross gifted donation of 6250. ANI will be net income less, ANI will be net income less gross gifted donation 6250. So when you reduce from net income gross gifted donation, you get ANI of 105,750. Okay. Now excess over 1 lakh is this minus 1 lakh, which is 5750. 50% of the excess is this excess, you multiply 50%. So you get 2875. Now tapered PA will be PA minus 50% of the excess that you have calculated. When you reduce from this, you get tapered PA 9695. Am I clear with this? Ashna, Mohammed, Deepika, those who did mistakes, Dakshesh, are you all clear? Now it's easy. Now by the gross gifted donation, your rate band will get extended. So that means till 43,950, now you will pay tax at 20%. And the remaining would be covered for 40%. Clear? Anybody who's not clear, please put it in the chat box. Ashra, Dakshesh, Deepika, Mohammed, Nikita. Anybody who's not clear, quickly type it in the chat box. Good. Okay, for you, everybody, now again click pictures. Now I need somebody who's clicked pictures to share these pictures in the group as homework questions. I'll send more questions by today evening, the pictures, because I need to click. So I'll share more questions by today evening. Or maybe tomorrow first half, I'll send them. Activity 9, quickly take the picture. Share all these pictures in the group. Homework. Okay, now I am stopping here. There is a reason why I'm stopping here 1 hour early. The only reason is I need you all to first grab and capture, absorb all the calculations that we have done so far. And then in the next session, I will carry on with this topic onwards, qualifying interest. I may just take a session during the weekday for just 1 or 2 hours in this week. I'll update you. This is only so that I'll take care of all your queries if there are any, and we'll just cover this chapter, only this chapter. I hope it will be okay. I'll share the details if it is convenient. Just give me that confirmation. Okay, so please grasp everything, absorb it, because then understanding this would become more easier. Fine, I'll update that in the group. So let's go slowly and progressively, because these calculations are a base for tax and ATX. So I need this chapter to be thoroughly clear in your head. Okay, so see you all during the week. I'll update you all for the session. Okay, see you all then. Bye-bye. Take care. I'll share the notes in some time.